Make sure to stick around to the end of this video because I have an insane announcement. I'm in the garage, I'm doing a shootout with the RCF JMIX8, the Bose 32, and the RCF 515 808s. Now look, I know that those are all three separate different column systems and they have their pros and cons. That's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the specs. I reviewed all of these, so go on my channel if you want to watch that. I want to talk about the good and the bad of each system, and then you can decide which one you want. I'm gonna start off with the JMIX8, which, look, I think out of all three, it still is my favorite one for a couple of reasons. I'll show you. Number one, the built-in mixer in the back. Here we've got about 8 channels. Now, and that 8 channels is RCA in the back, and you got 2, 5, and 6, but 4 real combo jacks, real knobs that go on the mixer. But then underneath, you can disable the mixer on the top here and then just go balance input in from your mixer, which is what I do. So the only reason why I would need a mixer is if I'm using this thing for ceremony, if it got moved inside, or if I need it as a remote speaker. That's just the thing about this. It's so damn versatile. It can pretty much do anything I want it to do. It hardly ever clips. The only downside to this speaker is that it's just, you know, it's a little bit bigger and heavier than the other ones. That's it. And then sometimes it's a pain in the ass setting up the pole, but they can get as high as you want. It's got a cable right here so setting it up is easy. All you do is just plug the cable in there, plug it in the sub, plug it in. It's ready to go. Okay, I love this speaker. It's got a 12-inch subwoofer compared to the other two. This one is louder than the 808. Believe it or not, I can't believe it, but the sub on the JMIX8 is thumpier and louder than the 808. Now, out of all three of them, the sub 2 is the loudest and the punchiest and rattles balls and it rattles the garage door. Speaking of the sub 2, let's go over here to the Bose. This is the 32 and the sub 2. What do I like about this? Okay. It does have a 3-channel mixer built in the back, which is nice. I've never really used the mixer before, though. All I really do is I go XLR out of my booth into TRS, into channel 3. Everyone keeps saying, even Bose, if you're going to do a controller, go into channel 3. Bluetooth built in, does have an app, and there's a line out here. This is tone match. This is if you want to use one of their tone match mixers. Here's the power, okay? Then over here in the sub 2, I can still use this if I want. Like I paired it yesterday with the 515 and it sounded pretty good. It's got a thread right here on the side. So if I want to hook up the 515, I can do that and use that as the sub for the 515. All I did was I went into line in 1 from the channel and then went line out into the 515. Usually you don't want to go in it. You could never go up to 12, all the way up here. I usually keep it at 12 or 1 o'clock and it's pretty thumpy. Bose. All right, the other advantage that the Bose has is the dispersion of the speakers. There are 32 2-inch, I believe, speakers in these, and they're sort of like spaced out, which gives you 180-degree dispersion. So when I have music on, when I'm talking, this thing fills the whole room. You don't need 2. One of these, fills. And what's the magic of this speaker is you can walk all the way up to it, and it doesn't like blast. It's not harsh. I can't say the same about the RCFs. They are harsh on the ears if you're up close, okay? But somehow Bose has figured a way to distribute the music where it sounds the same right here as it does all the way in the back. By the way, this is the tip if you want to get people to stop putting their drinks on your speakers. That one right there, and I love this one right here. This is the one I have on the RCF. What don't I like about the Bose 32? I think one of the things that I don't like is the fact that it's separate. You know, like these two have, it's all one piece, right? So with this is 3 pieces. You got the sub 2, you got the bass, and then the 3 tower pieces. So I think if I had the 16, because the 16, the L1 16 also has the 15-inch sub in it. So maybe I would have been more, you sacrifice half the speakers, but having speakers go from there all the way to the floor, haven't noticed much about that. The other thing I don't like is just that you really do, you clip the bass pretty easily. The sub 2, once you really push the volume, this thing clips pretty fast. In fact, it's harder to clip the J8 than it is the sub 2. Not the tower. The tower, I can crank that, but the sub 2, you get in the red really fast. All right, let's go over here to the 808 515s. What do I love about it? Portability. It's small, light, has a small footprint. That's, I think, one of its best advantages. The tops. The 515s sound absolutely amazing through music. Really crystal clear sound with music. Now, one thing I did have to do was you got to tune it. So with my JMIX8 8, that's what I've been doing basically all this week, is I've been going through and trying to tune this thing so that it sounds not as harsh like I was talking about. And actually, when I pull the low end up on the mixer, the bass is fuller and gets closer to the volume of the sub 2 and of the J8. So once I started tuning it, it definitely sounded a lot better. What are the disadvantages? There's just more cabling involved, you know? You gotta do, you know, each of these are powered separately. So, but I have one of these cables that powers into the 808. So the 808 powers the 15, but you need that. And then you need this, that goes out into your power. This is the direct XLR I have coming from the board to the 808. And then this is, I'm going from the 808 up to the 515. But I did Velcro them all together. So this is really all one piece cable. And it's just, you know, click, 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 click. So there's 4 things you got to plug in. I do normally have the volume all the way up on the sub and on the 515, and you got to push in that button on the 808 and push in the button right there on the 515 so that they know that they're working with each other. Maybe it could be my ears, but out of all 3 systems, the one that I like the sound the most, and this is my personal preference, is the Bose 32. Something about it, I like a warmer sound than not a lot of highs and a low end that sort of blends in with the music. And I think the Bose does that. Now, it doesn't get really loud, right? These get way louder. The RCF is louder than the 32. I can definitely crank it out of that top and that top over there. Way louder, okay? But the music sounds warmer from the Bose. And that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments if I'm full of shit. Honestly, a lot of people asking me, I put on Instagram, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at DJ Aaron Strawn. But everyone keeps asking me, like, what's the best one? What's the best one? And I think, look, this is going to sound like a cop-out, but they each have their own advantages and their own purposes at a gig, which is why I kind of like having all these. And by the way, I just bought a new system. Do not tell my wife. But I did buy a white system, and it should be here this week. I'll tell you about that later. But the RCF J8s, these are just honestly amazing and perfect for like 80% of weddings you ever do. The Bose 32 and the Sub 2, I think those are great for smaller parties like daddy-daughter dances, or like if you're in a small room or something where you just need like one speaker. These are great. And the 515s, these also, I think they're great for weddings, but just know that it's not a plug and play. You can't just plug things in, turn it on, it's gonna sound great. This is like a legit actual PA, and it requires more EQing, more tweaking, which is what I'm not used to. And I think it's a disadvantage, and I kind of like, I don't really like that. However, the way that they all fits in my car, the way that it fits in my cart, it's so small and portable. That is just one thing I love about this system. Another thing I don't like, and you've heard me bitch about this, is just this piece right here. This piece is fucked. In fact, one of them broke at my gig, and I'll show you the piece right here. It snapped off when I was screwing it on. It broke off. All right, can't blame the Italians for that. So far this year, I've been using the JMIX8s, and for the last 5-6 weddings, I've been taking the RCF 515s and 808s just to get a vibe, a feeling. And so far, I mean, they're great. They're great. They are harsh, and I'm still working on that with tuning them. But I felt like in the garage this week, I got a pretty good sound out of them. So I'm going to be taking them with me this weekend. And like I said, I got a new system coming, and I think you guys are going to be interested in hearing about that. But leave me in the comments what you think. Hit the like button if you agree or if you have any of these systems. And like always, I'll keep buying shit. Thanks for stopping by. Hit the sub button if you want to see more content. I'll see you at the next one. Bye.